of provision and development of cooperatives. So first, introduction. Obtaining common objective of the cooperative cooperation among the groups has been a necessary requirement of civilization. Without cooperation, no civilization could have done. Even a smallest creature like ants unite in a big way to carry a grain of food and accomplish their common objective to them of meeting their food requirements. Like ants or any civilized entity, any creature is required to be united for accomplishment of their common object. So the way of pooling their efforts and also the outcomes, people get their benefit, their common objective achieved. On the same side, same line, International Cooperative Alliance was conceived as a structured body to strengthen the cooperative movement further. Cooperatives are based on the principles of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, and solidarity. In the traditions of their founders, cooperatives believe in ethical values of honesty, openness, social responsibility, and caring for others. Agricultural cooperatives have played a vital role in the Asian rural areas for decades and have become a integral part of its social structure. Time immemorial, agriculture has been the art of people of living. Actually, they have been undertaking this profession as a means of their livelihood. So, united efforts of people have made it possible to achieve their common object. Cooperatives have contributed a lot to the development of modern national and systematized agricultural production rates, helping improve self-sufficiency of food and improve farmers' household economies.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I will ask the learners if they are able to listen. Mohammad Ahmed and small farmer welfare. Jivis. Jivis.
It's a bit for difficult to hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
very difficult.
What about?
We can't hear it. It's far.
Any pause is required or any explanation further is required?
Sir, the voice is a little bit slow. Means, yeah, you have to come either closer.
Yeah, I come with or more.
Sir, just tell me whether the voice is by the computer or by your earphone. Means, if you remove earphone,
Okay.
just one time remove earphone. Just plug it out.
I have a known, but how could I come to know whether you are getting my voice or not? Hello.
Sir. Yes, sir. Now the voice is clearer.
Okay. Okay, I do this now.
Yes, sir.
So then you can inquire from the student side.
1 minute, sir.
Okay.
You can use the earphone, but the microphone should be of the computer.
Okay, now you are audible. I can also.
Okay, can you listen to us?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sir. Carry on, sir.
So whether students are getting or not?
Students, please tell whether you are able to listen sir's voice.
No, it's a bit
It's
far.
a bit better now.
Pardon, we could not understand.
Hello.
Yeah, the
It's
voice
not clear.
is a bit far. It's not very, very clear. Or
Okay.
perhaps we can see the screen. We can manage.
The screen also should maximize.
Am I quicker? Should I be slow?
No, it's not clear.
They are saying, sir, it has to be means clarity is slightly less. So
It's very far. The voice is far.
By conversation.
yes.
Okay, I will try to make it slower. Okay, whether my dialect or pronunciation is not able to understand.
Sir, I think pronunciation is fair. Nothing wrong about it. The only thing is that I think the distance between you and Mike is, I think, a little bit more. That's why the voice is less.
Okay.
The
If you can give me 2 minutes, then I can try another point where I can connect my.
Sir, when you are near to the system, then the voice is okay. When
Okay.
you are going away, so
Uh-huh.
one thing, son, you can do, you can switch off camera
Okay.
and just sit near the computer.
Okay. Okay.
So you can switch off camera. There is no problem, sir.
Okay. I try.
And then sit near the computer so that the voice will be better.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, camera is okay. And if you can sit a little bit near to the computer
Okay.
system.
Now I'm nearer. And now I'm nearer.
Yes, sir. So now the voice is better now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's very
Agricultural cooperatives have played a vital role in the Asian rural areas for decades and have become an integral part of the social structure. Cooperatives have contributed a lot to the development of modern national and systematized agricultural production base, have improved self-sufficiency of foods, improved farmers' household economy by facilitating market access and competitiveness. Many instances are there where cooperative efforts have enabled the nations to increase their food production, improve their agriculture, improve the individuals' household economies by enabling them to sell their foods, to sell their agricultural produce at a reasonable price. Since individual efforts cannot be sufficient to fetch a good price in the market, to realize large scale economies, it is the cooperative effort which has made them to achieve this objective of a high production, better price, and competitiveness in their business. The cooperatives have developed modern economies or this national economies or national agricultural production base and have improved their self-sufficiency. Cooperatives have also have been adopting technological innovations in agriculture and encouraging democratic decision-making process, leadership development, and education. In many ways, people have united for their uh, modernization of agricultural business, encouraging their adoption, encouraging democratic decision-making process. However, at the dawn of the 21st century, new issues and forces have been influencing the external and internal environment of agricultural cooperatives worldwide, particularly after this WTO or introduction of a multilateral trade in which a globalized world has become more competitive. In such a way, in such a situation, agriculture has faced many internal and external challenges, particularly the competitiveness. So, uh, some of these forces, including the restructuring of agriculture sector, such as demographic changes and diversification of member farmers, highly advanced technological innovations, large-scale marketing, and changing consumer preferences have put pressure on the agriculture. Shifting international agricultural trade regime and globalization of the financial markets has put pressure on the individual decision maker, and the globalization cooperatives as well. So all these forces, all these factors have left many agricultural cooperatives, particularly in the Asian region, grouping to find more efficient business models in an increasingly harsh economy and leaving poor resource small scale farmers with no option but to realign their economic activities and meager resources to external signals. Actually, in the changing environment, individual resources are very meager. They are not able to take advantage of modern technology. They are not able to sell them profitably. So it is the only way that they can survive just by uniting their efforts so as to take advantage of modernization, modern inputs, modern agricultural tools, modern agriculture technologies, and sell their produce profitably. Specifically, the emergence of WTO and other regional trade organizations has defined the areas and the rule of game for trade and agricultural commodities and processed produce, which are simply not easy to follow by developing countries. In this context, there are certain challenges before the cooperatives. Cooperatives, cooperatives can help small poor, small people of small means just by uniting them and take advantage of large scale operations and large scale uh, technologies which are suitable, which are scale biased actually. So in this way, cooperatives cooperatives are helpful to those people who are of small means. Let's come to the meaning of cooperation, meaning and concept of cooperation. Cooperation has been derived from a Latin word, Latin from two Latin words. Co, which means with, and operare means to work. So cooperation means working together with another or others for common purpose of job. In other words, cooperation is a sort of association of persons who unite to do some work together in order to achieve some purpose which individually they cannot achieve. For example, a football team or a gang of rovers or a shareholders of a speculative company who individually cannot achieve any objective without uniting themselves. So, if they work together for a common purpose, they can be able to achieve that objective. Like a football player who cannot do any goal without help of others. So similarly, cooperation. People individually who are resource poor cannot achieve their respective objectives. But if they unite themselves, they can achieve their common purpose common to them. Hence, the purpose which cannot be achieved on individual basis can be achieved through cooperation. The principle of cooperation is as old as human beings. From the most primitive to most sophisticated community, one comes across some form of cooperation among its members, be it for agricultural operations or for some social, economic, or political activities. In India, the principles of cooperation have been invoked since centuries. The spirit of village panchayats, or known as village committees, was almost entirely cooperative. Throughout the ages, the village committees have worked together on an informal cooperative basis with regard to their religious, social, economic, and cultural life. Joint family system is an excellent example of cooperation in our country. Cooperative institutions are democratic, people-oriented rather than capital-oriented organizations. This is basic difference between a cooperative and a capitalist organization. In a cooperative, there is union of people rather than union of capital. The cooperative institution is a democratic, people-oriented organization, but a capitalist organization, which is capital-oriented organization. That is not democratic. That is a biased organization in which voting powers are allowed to the people as per their contribution made. But in a cooperative, in decision making, powers are given to the members irrespective of their contribution to the capital. So, in that sense, cooperative institutions are democratic in nature. These are universal form of organization found in all countries and used by people in many ways in their economy and social life. For marketing the products of their labor, for purchasing supplies for their business or household or families, for depositing their savings or for borrowing money, for providing housing, securing protection like insurance and health services, or for development of their regions, for producing together certain goods and services. All these efforts, all these activities undertaken on a collective basis, they could achieve their respective objectives. In marketing, individual farmer, individual seller cannot sell his or her produce profitably because with a small produce to sell or buy, actually there are lots of costs involved, and these costs are expressed on small amount of produce to be bought and sold. But if the same output is bought or sold on collective basis, unit cost of transportation, unit cost of storage, unit cost of processing, all these come down. Similarly, purchasing supplies for their business or household or families also enable them to face only lower price. On individual purchase for their business or household, by a particular buyer or seller, make them to incur huge cost in purchasing these commodities or these goods or these services. So they can reduce their cost just by uniting themselves. Depositing their savings, individual savers, income savers, find it difficult to mobilize their small savings for making money. But if are collected, if they are unified, these can be mobilized profitably, and some income can be earned on these small savings, and they can achieve their respective objective of making money out of their small savings from their incomes. Providing housing as well, since in a metropolitan cities where lands are very costly, individuals are not able to purchase a piece of land to construct their houses. But if they unite themselves to buy land and other needed resources, they can do this and can provide housing facility to all the members. So these are the examples. People have been oriented for achieving their respective objectives. These are universal form of organization found in all countries in one or other way, whether this country in question are developed or developing or least developed. This cooperation has been prevailing and will be prevailing in all sorts of countries, all types of countries, in one or other form. Practically, cooperatives are used in one or other form for the benefit of people in their everyday needs. A cooperative is a user-owned, user-controlled business that distributes benefits on the basis of use. Why this is user-owned and user-controlled? Since ownership, this cooperative belongs to them only. They decide themselves what they have to do and how they have to do. So these are owned by them, these are controlled by them. And benefits of controlling and owning these organizations are distributed by themselves among the members on the basis of their use. More specifically, it is distinguished from other forms of businesses by three basic concepts. First, the user-owner concept. Persons who own and finance the cooperative are those who use it. Therefore, these are the owner-user of the cooperative. Secondly, the user control concept. Control of cooperative is by those who use these cooperatives. They decide themselves what they have to produce, what they have to purchase, how they have to purchase, how much they have to purchase. So these are the controllers of the organization. Users are the controllers, users are the owners. And thirdly, users are the beneficiaries of the benefits of cooperatives. Benefits of the cooperatives are distributed among its members on the basis of their use in accordance of the benefits, in accordance of the services of the cooperatives are enjoyed, used by the members. Benefits of cooperatives are surpluses of cooperatives are refunded back to the users in accordance of their shares. So, user benefit concept is often interpreted as business at cost. Business at cost. So, a definition of the cooperative which comes from these three basic concepts is business organization that is owned and controlled by those who use its services, net income of which is divided among its members in proportion to the use they make of its services. So it has been defined differently by different people, but no definition can be said to be perfect because cooperation has assumed different shapes in different countries according to the circumstances and environments in which environments prevailing there, which gave birth to cooperation differently. Even then, some of the definitions are worth noting here. Definitions definition as adopted by International Cooperative Alliance in 1995 and now universally accepted. A cooperative is an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. This is the most recent definition given by International Cooperative Alliance, including many aspects, important aspects of the cooperatives which are there in any form of cooperative. Since autonomy is given to the organization, this is jointly owned and decision making is democratic in nature. So these are the basic elements of a cooperative which have been highlighted by the ICA, means International Cooperative Alliance in its definition. Another definition has been given by H. Calvert. Cooperation is a form of organization wherein persons voluntarily associate together as human beings on the basis of equality for the promotion of economic interests of themselves. Here, some points are important actually. As a human being means on humanitarian ground. All members of cooperatives are equal, irrespective of their religion, color, caste, race, etc. Getting? Am I audible to you people? Hello? Are you here on the platform? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. I hear you, sir.
So three underlying notions emerge from this definition, that is voluntary, equality of right, and common interest. Everybody who want to become member is free to become member or free to quit membership at any time. There is no compulsion, no pressure, no persuasion to be member, or no one can be discriminated against becoming member against one's will. Equality of right is another element. Everyone, whether rich or poor, has contributed small or large, cannot be discriminated against, given equal right in decision making, and even can voice in the decision making. But in other forms of business organizations like partnership or in corporate or joint family businesses, these rights are not equally granted. But in cooperative form of business, these are equally granted. And all members have come together to achieve their common objective. Purpose, motive of this organization is not to make profit, rather to serve its members. Cooperation is the act of, another definition has been given by M.T. Herrick, which says cooperation is the act of persons voluntarily united for utilizing reciprocally their own forces, resources, or both under their mutual management to their common profit and loss. A cooperative society is an enterprise formed and directed by an association of users applying within itself the rules of democracy and directly intended to serve both its own members and the community as a whole. This definition again uh, emphasizes democracy. There are members' own interest and emphasizing by their community by pooling their resources. Another definition that has been emphasized, the importance of association just for by voluntarily utilizing resources, their efforts, their energies for achievement of their common object. Okay, so cooperatives are people-centered enterprises owned, controlled, and run by and for their members to realize their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations. Cooperatives bring people together in a democratic and equal way. Whether the people members are the customers, employees, users, or residents, cooperatives are democratically managed by the one member, one vote rule. In cooperatives, every member is given equal voting right, whether the rich or the poor. One has contributed 1,000 shares or 100 shares or 1 share. Each one is given equal right. Members are members share members are able to cast their votes equally. No proxy voting is allowed. Members share equal voting rights regardless of the amount of capital they put into enterprises. As businesses driven by values, not just by profit, cooperatives share internationally agreed principles and act together to build a better world through cooperation, putting fairness, equality, and social justice at the heart of the enterprise. Cooperatives around the world are allowing people to work together to create sustainable enterprises that generate long-term job and prosperity. To be brief, the term cooperative may be described as a special technique of doing business, not in traditional profit economy sense, but in such a way that a group of people may secure common goods through self-help and mutual help. This is the beauty of a cooperation through which common objectives to the members can be achieved by putting fairness, equality, social justice in the center of the enterprise. Cooperatives around the world allowing people to work together to create sustainable enterprises and generate long-term jobs and prosperity. Cooperation means people doing some of their economic activities together for their mutual benefit. By uniting their efforts, people gain from one another ideas, talents, skills, and energies. In this way, they are able to achieve results which they could not achieve alone. The basic common concept has been practiced throughout the history. Informal types of cooperatives are as old as human history itself. But the cooperative movement, as we now, as we see now, we see today, started in Europe in the context of industrial revolution. The expansion of money economy and the growing concentration of power in the hands of few has led the cooperative. Actually, cooperation has resulted out of the uh, out of the exploitation of have-nots by haves. It originated in modern cooperation has generated in Europe, where earlier efforts which were responsible for this new form of cooperation have been placed here. So, first among them, earliest record of a cooperative comes from Fenwick, Scotland, where on 14th March 1761, in a barely furnished cottage, local weavers manhandled a sack of oatmeal into John Walker's whitewashed front room and began selling the contents at a discount, forming the Fenwick Weavers Society. The Fenwick Weavers Society has been reported to be the first cooperative which was originated on 14th March 1761, which sold oatmeal content at discount to the members. The second one, on 21st December 1844, a group of 28 artisans working in the cotton mills in Rockdale, in the north of England, established the first modern cooperative business, the Rockdale Equitable Pioneer Society, also known as Rockdale Pioneers. So it is the first consumer cooperative which has been established in England on 21st December 1844. They are regarded as the prototype of a modern cooperative society and founders of cooperative movement, founders of modern cooperative movements. The weavers in these cotton mills in Rockdale faced measurable working conditions and low wages, and they could have not afford to high prices of food and household goods. Actually, this exploitation in the industries in Rockdale, which was known for the cotton mills, where in Britain, this exploitation of this labor was rampant, and the workers were not able to afford time even for purchase of their daily needs from the wholesale market, or their resources were very poor. So they decided. Actually, they were exploited doubly. At one place, they were exploited in the hands of their employers by rendering longer hour services and low payments. On the other side, they were exploited by the retailers who were there in their vicinity, who used to sell goods at very high price, arbitrarily high price. So they were exploited doubly. At one hand, they could get only nominal wages, and on the other side, they have to pay a high price for their goods. So they decided to pool their resources to purchase their daily needs, goods of their daily needs from wholesale markets. They decided that by pooling their scarce resources and working together, they could access basic goods at a lower price. So initially, only 4 items were sold by them: flour, oatmeal, sugar, and butter. The pioneers decided it was time shoppers were treated with honesty, openness, and respect, that they should be able to share in profits that their custom contributed, and that they should have a democratic right to have a say in the business. Every customer of the shop became a member, and so had a true stake in the business. True stake in the business. At first, the cooperative was open for only 2 nights a week, but within 3 months, the business had grown so much that it was open 5 days a week. So this grown very fast. Within 3 months only, their business increased many folds. So an independent cooperative model was developed in Germany. On the other side, a credit cooperative was conceived by F.W. Raffisen and Franz Hermann Schultz-Dallis. So Raffisen Schultz-Dallis originally found a cooperative union in 1862 in Germany. So these are different forms of cooperatives developed in Europe itself. Since then, model has grown into other sectors and inspired the growth of financial cooperative across the world. In India, cooperative movement was started with the enactment of Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904. This is formal start of cooperatives in India. Main objective was to encourage thrift, self-help, and cooperation among agriculturists, artisans, and, other persons of limited means. Actually, people, those who were not united, were indulged in extravagancy, dependence, and non-cooperation among them. Whether these were agriculturists, artisans, or other persons who were not having enough funds. So this was a mechanism evolved to unite them, to encourage thrift among them, to help them to make them to help themselves, and cooperation for agricultural operations purposes, or their custom services, or any other sort of activities which they undertake. How this cooperation evolved in developing countries, all forms that we have discussed, 3 forms: developed only in the Europe. How in developing countries like India, China, Indonesia, Philippines is developed. The agricultural and rural development in developing countries, in which a large portion of total population lives in rural areas and depend upon agriculture for their livelihood, is not viable and sustainable. In this sense, the rules of trade liberalization are aggravating the adverse livelihood conditions of the rural poor, who are mostly small and medium producers, without much market-oriented organization and management capacities. The evolution of cooperative in developing countries, which is with a special reference to agriculture and allied sector, particularly in India, China, Indonesia, Philippines, are agenda. First, India. In India, the beginning of cooperatives is linked with nidhis. The cooperatives undertaking in the form of indigenous nidhis or mutual loans association in the province of Madras in the second half of 19th century. A semi-formal type of cooperatives were seen in then Madras residency, in the name of Mutual Loan Association or nidhis, or sometimes these were known as chit funds. These were quite similar to Raiffeisen cooperative credit cooperatives of Germany. Other type of cooperatives like consumer cooperatives were also organized on the basis of Raiffeisen Rockdale model in the country. Seeing these trends and considering the problems of rural agricultural economy, the first cooperative law of India was enacted by the British on 25th March 1904, covering the undivided India. The law covered only credit cooperatives and was repealed by a new law named Cooperative Societies Act of 1912 to cover various types of cooperatives. Remember, the first law, Agricultural Cooperative Agricultural Credit Cooperative Credit Societies Act, which was passed in 1904, was uh, only allowed the formation of credit societies, and that too there was no high level cooperative could be formed under this. But after some time, it was realized the deficiency of the act was realized, and it was decided to repeal this existing act, and a comprehensive act should be enacted so as to form federations at higher level and the cooperatives at other cooperatives in other sectors as well. So this Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904 was replaced by Cooperative Societies Act of 1912. So these cooperatives carry out activities according to the principles of mutual benefits, voluntary organization by farmers, managed by farmers, benefited by farmers. So rural cooperative cooperatives formulate their own regulations. Regulations are approved by concerned authorities, and the cooperatives have therefore practically become state agencies. Ministry of Agriculture is in charge of the work and develops cooperatives in the way of guidance and direction. See, after this after this Act of 1912, which enabled the country to start cooperatives in other fields. This act became a necessity, and the cooperatives could be organized under this act for providing non-credit services to their members. Consumer cooperatives, farming cooperatives, processing cooperatives, and marketing cooperatives could be started just after enactment of Act of 1912. The Act also provided for formation of federations of cooperatives at higher level. The 1912 cooperative law focused on provincial issues, and provinces were given power to enact their own cooperative laws. I must tell you, before enactment of 1912, this subject of cooperation was not provincial actually. This was central subject on which central government could decide, and the cooperatives were formed uniformly throughout the country. But later it was realized, since there are differences between the provinces, and these differences need to be considered for starting any cooperative. So this was made a provincial subject. Certain provisions, certain issues were considered, and cooperatives focused on provisional issues and allowed them to form cooperatives as per their own requirements. Henceforth, all provinces, all states introduced their own cooperative laws under which they could form cooperatives in any field. So to cover the cooperatives that have that have members in more than one state, a multi-unit cooperative society act was also introduced by the central government in India in 1942. There were concepts of cooperatives which could be run in more than one state. So there was need to have a law which can allow the cooperatives to run in more than one state. So a need was felt that a multi-unit cooperative societies act need to be passed. The government of India in 1942 passed this act. This act was an enabling act and was replaced by a comprehensive enactment, that is Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 1984, and is presently operated. The Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act enacted in 1984 was modified in 2002 in keeping with the spirit of Model Cooperative Act. In China, after the People's Republic of China was founded, agricultural cooperative changed from elementary agricultural producers cooperatives, advanced agricultural producers cooperatives to people's commune, and formed the system combining cooperatives and governments, which hurt the enthusiasm of farmers for production, hindered rural productivity. In 1979, rural reform was carried out in China. People's commune system was abolished, and the dual management system within the framework of household responsibility system was adopted. On the above basis, all kinds of rural cooperatives developed gradually. In some areas, farmers organized farmers special cooperatives such as pig raising cooperatives, chicken raising cooperatives, plant cooperatives, and so on and so forth. These cooperatives carry out activities according to principles of mutual benefits, voluntaries, organized by farmers, managed by farmers, benefited by farmers. Some rural cooperatives formulate their own regulations. Regulations are approved by concerned authorities, and cooperatives have their practically become state agencies. Ministry of Agriculture is in charge of work and develops cooperatives in the way of guidance and directions. In Indonesia, the initiation of Indonesian cooperative movement can be traced back to the formation of first cooperative bank, Halpen Spar Bank of Saving and Assistance in 1895. The first consumer cooperative by Budi Otomo in 1909, and an organization by Javanese Medical School in Jakarta. Later, since 1913, Sarekat Islam, a political organization based on cooperative ideas, played an active role in promoting cooperatives and is reported to have created hundreds of customer cooperatives. The cooperatives became legal entities with the introduction of regulations concerning cooperatives based on the Netherlands Cooperative Law of 1876 by the Dutch government on April 7, 1915. This law was replaced by national government, first in 1967 and then again in 1992, regulating all types of cooperatives. In Philippines, cooperative movement in the Philippines was sponsored by civic and regional groups. The first cooperative law was introduced in April 1906, followed by a Rural Credit Cooperative Associations Act in 1915. The establishment of cooperatives picked up particularly during the American occupation. Cooperatives were registered under Cooperative Law number 1459, enacted on 1st April 1906. Agricultural Credit Associations Act number 2508, on 5th February 1915, and Cooperative Marketing Law number 3425 on 9th December 1927, repealed in April 1973. Said laws, all above laws remained valid along with sectorial regulations till all of them were registered in the Cooperative Code of Philippines in 1989. In in Philippines, that is how this law, Cooperative Code of Philippines, took over all earlier laws. Now, development of cooperatives in India. How cooperatives developed in India during British rule. Nicholson, a British officer, suggested to introduce Raffesin model of German agricultural credit cooperatives in India. As a recommendation, as a follow-up of the recommendations, the Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1904 was enacted to enable formation of agricultural credit societies in the country. In villages, in India under government sponsored. Actually, cooperation was not spontaneous origin of cooperatives in India. This was sponsored act of then government. So with the enactment of 1904 Act, cooperatives were got a direct legal identity, as every agricultural cooperative was to be registered under the Act only. After enactment, any organization registered under this Act automatically got an artificial person, converted an artificial person who had right to borrow, who had right to land, who was able to sue, who was who could be sued. So actually, after enactment of this organization, enactment of this law, any organization means for arranging credit facility for its members. This could achieve an legal entity actually. Every member of the society, every member of the cooperative was able to share the responsibility of this cooperative. The Cooperative Societies Act of 1904 was the starting point of a formal cooperative in India. However, cooperative was cooperation was practiced since immemorial time in India, but the modern cooperation started only after enactment of a Cooperative Credit Societies Act of 1904 of modern India. And this act was repealed by Cooperative Societies Act of 1912, which provided formation of cooperative societies under uh, under this act in other fields as well, like marketing cooperative, farming cooperative, processing cooperative, consumer cooperatives, or many more cooperatives, housing cooperative, fisheries cooperative, or any other sort of cooperatives. So this was the starting point for development of cooperation in India. Under Administrative Reforms Act of 1919, cooperation was made a provincial subject, making each province responsible for cooperative development. National Cooperative Union of India was established in 1929 as an apex promotional organization for promoting and strengthening of cooperative sector, providing education and training in cooperative, propagation of cooperative ideology, and research in cooperatives, international cooperative relations, cooperative planning, and informal services. Similarly, a National Cooperative Development and Warehousing Board was set up in 1956 in the pursuance of the recommendation of All India Rural Credit Survey Committee in 1954 under the aegis of Reserve Bank of India. The National Cooperative Development Corporation was established in March 1963 by Government of India under National Cooperative Development Corporation Act of 1962 as a successor of National Cooperative Development and Warehousing Board. The objective of National Cooperative Development Corporation was planning and promoting the programs for production, processing, marketing, storage, export and import of agricultural produce, foodstuff and certain other notified commodities, and the collection, processing, marketing, storage and export of minor forest products on cooperative principles. National Cooperative Development Corporation since then have been playing a very crucial role in promoting the cooperative and the above said principle. In India, unlike the developed countries, started the cooperative movement with the poor people, so as to share the benefits with poor in improving their quality of life. In some countries, we come across very small community-based cooperatives and large industrial cooperative establishments, which are sometimes difficult to distinguish from other industrial enterprises, but their service to member is unique. They are very big in size, but objective of these organizations being cooperatives are different than other cooperative form of organization, big industrial units. In India, the industrial cooperatives in the fertilizer sector, milk sector, sugar sector, which have come up a long way to compete with the big industries, have maintained their structure of primarily serving to their members. Multi-Unit Cooperative Societies Act of 1942, enacted by the British government with an objective to cover societies whose operations are extended to more than one state. The impulses of Indian freedom movement gave birth to many initiatives and institutions in the post-independence era in India, and armed with an experience of 42 years of working in multi-unit cooperative society and the Multi-Unit Cooperative Societies Act of 1942, the central government enacted a comprehensive act known as Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act of 1984, repealing the Act of 1942. An expert group constituted by the Government of India in 1990 and recommended certain points. First, to facilitate building up of integrated cooperative structure. Second, to make cooperative federation organizations responsive towards their members. Thirdly, to minimize government interference and control in the functioning of cooperatives. And fourthly, and finally, to eliminate politicization. So these recommendations were recommended by this expert group, and based on the recommendations, the central government enacted the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 2002, which provided for democratic and autonomous working of cooperatives, which came into force with effect from 19th August 2002. The Government of India formulated national policy on cooperatives, which upholds the value and principles of cooperation, recognizing its autonomous character and attaching priority to the professionalism, human resource development, and to act as preferred instrument for execution of public policy in rural areas and in sectors where they provide the most effective delivery system. Am I audible to you people? Hello? Is there anyone on the platform? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we are good, sir.
Okay. So considering these recommendations, the Act provided for to strengthen their competitive edge in the market, total quality control initiatives, management initiatives, and cost reduction initiatives will also be taken up. It is now increasingly recognized that the cooperative system in India has the capacity and potentiality to neutralize adverse effects emerging from the process of globalization and liberalization, and continue to play an important role in employment promotion and poverty alleviation, both as production enterprises, mainly of the self-employed, and as provides provider of services to the members. Although cooperatives are now instruments of employment promotion, they do effectively create and maintain employment in both urban areas and rural areas, and thus provide income to both members and employees in the form of shares of surplus, wages, and salaries, and profits depending upon the type of cooperative. Actually, there has been a system of benefit sharing among employees, members, or the workers. The part of a profit keeping aside for reserves is refunded back to the users, to the members, to the workers on different bases. Those who have contributed capital, a small part of profit is given, refunded back to the members as per their capital contribution as dividend. And those who have rendered manual services or mental services are given bonus. A part of profit is distributed as bonus to the employees. A share of benefit is given to the members on the basis of services they have used of the society. So in this way, there are at least 3-4 ways through which the surplus generated by the cooperatives is refunded back to the members or the employees or to the workers. The cooperative movement in India. India has basically an agrarian country, agrarian economy, where 71% of its population resides in rural areas and only 29% resides in urban areas. The rural people need lot of services in daily life which are met by village cooperative societies. Whether it for seed or credit or insecticide, pesticide, these people depend for these services. The village cooperative societies provide strategic inputs for the agriculture sector in the form of seed, credit, in the form of insecticides, pesticides, or any other service needed by them. The consumer societies meet their consumption requirements at concessional rates. Many consumer goods like rice, wheat, sugar, pulses, oil, even salt is being made available to the members at a concessional rate. Marketing societies help the farmers to get remunerative prices for their produce, and cooperative processing units help the members in value addition of their raw products. They are taking advantage of value addition for their produce. In addition, cooperative societies are helping in building up of storage godowns, including cold storage, rural roads, and providing facilities like irrigation, electricity, transport, health, and insurance for their members. Thus, the cooperative societies in India, in fact, are playing multifunctional role both in rural and urban areas. In the industrial cooperatives, like fertilizer cooperatives, milk cooperatives, there have been very big industrial cooperatives in these areas. Fertilizer sector, milk sector, sugar sector have come up a long way to compete with big industries, have maintained their structure of primarily
Hello, sir. Hello.